Hey sis, welcome back to Black Girl SOS. It's your girl Snobby, and today we are talking about Black women in the literary space. And as always, I bring you the best of the best. My dear, introduce yourself.
My name is Daniela Lopez. I am a teacher. I teach grades 6 through 12 at a public school in East Harlem. I've been teaching for about 12 years now. And I'm also the author and illustrator of a children's book called Afros, Braids, and Curls, ABCs for Curly Girls. And for the YouTubers, this is the book.
We love to see it.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
And
T.
I am T. Moore. I am an attorney by day. I have my own law firm, Moore and Young Legal Solutions, where we do trademarks, copyrights, and contracts. I am also an soon to be published author. Well, let me back up. I am a published author.
I was about to correct you.
Yeah, I was about to say, wait, I don't even have my book by me, but I published my first romance novel back in 2018 under the pen name Nisha Sky, entitled After the Storm. However, recently I have a book deal that just announced with Chicago Review Press, where we'll be writing about contemporary film directors who are women. So I'll be highlighting all the Black ladies. um, so that's my something I'm working on, and I have some other works in the oven, but I can't announce them because publishing is so secretive.
I heard that. Listen, don't breach that NDA for me because I ain't got no money for you. So I appreciate you ladies for coming on. You know, I like to tell you guys where I know my dope guest from. DJ is my dope line sister, and T is my dope good girlfriend from law school. See, when you're dope, you attract dope. Note to self, be dope. Okay. So what made you ladies want to start writing? Was writing something that was always on the agenda, like, yeah, I'm gonna teach or I'm gonna do this, but I'm also gonna be an author? Or did that like come to you as life started to happen? T, I'll throw it to you first.
So I've been writing such a funny question. I've been writing really, it's cliche, but I have been writing since I was young. Like I got my first journal probably about 5 or 6, and I used to just doodle in it. And whatever 6-year-old problems I had, maybe like I wanted some cookies that day, that was definitely going in the journal. But as I got older, I really took to it, and I used to get the little awards, accolades. But becoming an author really wasn't the end game for me at the time. But it was always my saving grace, especially on exams that had writing to it. It was like
Girl, law school.
law, saving grace, first semester law school.
You and me both.
Yes, the bar as well. Like definitely the saving grace.
I still can't do them MBE questions.
Not at all, not at all. But recently, to be honest, I had stopped writing, and my journal at 17 had got violated by a family member. And by violated, I mean she photocopied a particular entry, and it was like a really bad entry. So imagine a 16, 17-year-old, whatever life
I
is.
was really just expecting you to say somebody read that shit.
She read it and photocopied it.
That's
Yes.
such a violation.
Right?
Yes, it was such a huge violation. Called a family meeting and read it out loud
Out loud?
to the
Oh my
family. Yeah, highlighted the
Wow.
areas that she wanted to read. This is my Jamaican side of the family. So
Well, they don't got no boundaries. I said
there's
it.
no
I
boundaries.
said it.
And that was really the attitude. It was like, well, what you gonna do? It's just like, why are you so vexed? It was like, I'm really vexed now because
Now, like
I
times 12.
wasn't before. But that stopped me, and it really stunted my writing. And it was very hard to feel safe to write, to feel comfortable journaling, and to even write creatively. It was just like this block. So I did enough to pass classes, but creative writing, I tried. I used to do some spoken word at Morehouse when I was at Clark, but I just couldn't.
Come on, HBCUs.
I just couldn't connect to it. And then I had kids, and that opened up something new for me. And it just, it inspired me in a way to just get back into it. And so I've even started writing picture books and getting into, that's just, I'm gonna have to get your book, DJ, because I got girls. So just, really getting involved in my writing and taking my craft seriously probably happened over the past couple of years, and just going full throttle. And this year during the pandemic has probably been the most creative I've been, ironically. So yeah.
It's interesting. I think for a lot of people, for as shitty as 2020 has been in totality, it's forced a lot of people back into their creative spaces. It definitely has forced me back into mine, People's Exhibit A. So yeah, I mean, that's dope though that your kids kind of brought you back to writing. That's a dope little story that you should share with them, you know, when they're not terrorists.
Yeah, right. When they're not harassing me, I might share that they're my muses, you know. But for now, I'm be like, y'all, just trying to keep our live during the pandemic.
So, DJ, what brought you to writing?
For me, it wasn't something that I wanted to do when I was younger. It wasn't really something that I thought about. I never had an issue with writing, like academically. I love editing and proofreading and doing that sort of academic writing. But I didn't really think about being an author or publishing books or anything like that. But one year, it was probably around 2014, shortly after, it was like the year after I did my big chop. I used to have a relaxer, and then I did a big chop and had a small little afro and was like learning how to do my natural hair. I thought, like, you know, there really needs to be books that are geared towards kids loving, little girls, little Black girls loving their natural hair. Because while I was never told that my hair wasn't beautiful as a kid, implicitly, like, you know, when it was
We
pressed,
did keep our hair very straight.
when
We
it was
were very
pressed,
serious in undergrad.
when it was pressed as a kid was when you got the compliments, or that was like when your hair was done, you know?
That's
So,
right.
you know, later on I got a relaxer and I had no issue with my relaxer whatsoever.
And even then, we were very serious at 210. Then we were
We
very
figured it
serious
out.
about that straight hair. We did
We
not
figured it
play.
out. We had the thermosilk down. We had it down to a
We,
science. Our hair super silky straight.
we were running a full-on salon out of 210.
We were,
Clemens
because there
Hall.
were no like good black hair salons
There
out.
weren't.
So anyway, you know, I'm as grown woman figuring out my natural hair because I didn't really know how to do it. I just thought that there was like a need for like this love of the natural hair. And what it is, my nieces, they've always had natural hair. And they would kind of be fascinated with my relaxed hair because my hair did well with the relaxer. It grew, it didn't break, it was healthy, it was long. And they would say, oh, you know, when we get older, we're going to get a relaxer. And I'm like, no, don't do it. It's a trap. It's a trap. So they're like, oh, they would be so fascinated with it. And I'm like, no, your hair is beautiful. Your hair is gorgeous. Like, you don't need that. You know, your hair is perfect. You're perfect the way that you are. And I just thought about it. And I'm like, I'm telling them this, yet I'm continuously straightening and relaxing my hair. So as much as I'm telling them that their hair is beautiful,
Right.
what am I saying if I'm not embracing my own? So that was really what prompted me to, you know, I'm like, let me see how it goes. What's the worst that could happen? I'm just gonna, I transitioned for a little while. Couldn't do that because it was hot. It got hot. And I was like straightening in, and I would be worried about like having a little afro at the top. So I was like, you know what?
The demarcation.
Yeah. So I chopped it off in June when it started getting hot, and, you know, learned my hair. And then one day, I was just like writing, and like it came to me, like the book just came to me, and I wrote, you know, the letters. It was like a poem, and it was very easy for me, honestly. So that was like 2014. And then it was the illustrations that was like, I got stuck. I had major block for the
Which surprises me. For the people who don't know DJ, she is an artist. So I thought this story, in all truth, was going to start in the inverse. I thought it was going to start with, girl, you know, I drew all this stuff, and then I had to figure out how to get some words laid down.
No,
but here we are.
No, it was the opposite. And what it is, I'm very critical of myself, and yeah. Tasha knows me very well. But anyway, I drew a couple of the illustrations. I drew like the cover, the girl. I drew a few of the other girls, and I was just like, you know, I don't think this is it. These are not good. So I just like stopped and left it alone for
Mind you all, she's a super talented artist, like super talented.
Literally years. I left it alone. I didn't touch it. I didn't touch the book. I'm just like, you know. And then finally, it was like when I finally opened myself up to like collaboration and to getting feedback and started sharing it with other people and getting more feedback. That was when it became quick. So I published my book in 2018 with
Oh,
co-illustrator.
Y'all so dope. Y'all so dope. You know what? You bring up an interesting point though, because it's one that I probably struggle with just as a human being. Um, Sharing and collaborating, because I sat on this podcast for a very long time. Um, for a long time, I didn't want to do it just because I I know my personality type, and I was not in a space where I wouldn't snap back. Like if you said some slick shit to me online, sis, I'm gonna track your IP address and we're gonna address this shit face to face, right? Like we're gonna have a real conversation about what the fuck you just wrote in my comments. So I knew that was not the space I needed to be in. I needed to be in the space where you like I could receive whatever you had to say, good, bad, or indifferent, and it wasn't going to sway me from the art of what I was doing or from the message of what I was doing. And it wasn't until a good friend of mine's from after law school, I went to Kansas City to do my LLM in tax, and I worked at H&R Block World headquarters. So the only other black person on my team was obviously he was literally my only black friend in Kansas City, period. Okay. He's the only black person.
One black friend.
Only black friend, only black person I knew, period. And so randomly, he popped up on my LinkedIn, and this is like a little over a year and a half ago. He popped up on my LinkedIn, and I just was like, "Hey, what's up? How you been?" And he was like, "Yo, where are you in New York?" And I was like, "No, I live in Florida, but actually I'm here visiting." And we just got up, and I shared with him what what had been sitting on my heart that I wasn't comfortable to creatively share with anybody else. And then he shared with me some of the stuff that he was working on. And it was in us exchanging ideas and becoming each other's accountability partner that finally I got this shit off the ropes. Do you feel like that's like a common theme is like for creatives or for black creatives? Is that something common when you interact with black creatives?
I don't know, DJ, you want to go first?
I would say that I'll speak from my experience. I was very hesitant to, just like what you shared, I was very hesitant to reach out to other people because it's like I have my own ideas, and if somebody tells me something and I don't really like it, I'm just gonna be like, oh, or am I obligated to take their feedback? And I'm also a highly sensitive person, so Tasha also knows that about me very well. So I tend to just, keep it close, I hold it close to me, and I figure it out. And I like for my book, it was like I had to do it by myself for some reason. Like that was it. That was constantly playing in my head. Like I have to do it by myself. I have to figure it out like on my own. And I was very resistant to like getting feedback or getting help from other people, because people were like, if you want to publish the book, like if you're having a hard time with the illustrations, hire an illustrator. And I'm like, nope, I don't want to do that. I don't do that. Like I was just like shutting all the ideas down. And then finally, when I was like, I'm not finishing it on my own. Like,
yeah,
not happening. I've been stuck for years. Maybe I need to just listen and be open to feedback. So I did that. And there were a couple of illustrators that came and I didn't like their style. And I was just like, you know what? Thank you, but no, thank you. That's not it. And then I realized that it didn't have to be one or the other. Like I can keep searching until I find the right collaborator, and it ends up working out perfectly.
Yeah. So for me, I definitely have, now I have critique partners. I actually have people who I'm comfortable with sharing my work with, who I can give my words to. A little easier on the kid lit side for me to find people to share like a picture book with, because picture books are short. Sharing my novels with, I do have two incredible women that I do share it with, but I do want a couple of more eyes on my novels, because they're longer works. So there's a lot of room for me to kind of err off the plot or to kind of lose the way, so to speak. But as a creative, I haven't met a creative yet who doesn't feel that way. Like we're artists, right? Like, so we're sensitive about our shit. Like it's art. And so there's this level of you want to protect it, but there's also this thing I think in the Black community, we're always afraid someone's going to steal our stuff, right? So
That's an interesting point.
that's really
Come on,
probably,
trademark attorney, shut it down.
you know, the people are concerned about stealing. So, you know, you always have to tell people, you know, they're like, should I copyright my stuff? Like, you know,
I'll fly that NDA in a minute.
let me tell you something. That NDA is, don't violate no NDAs, but also understanding that copyright, you know, as far as copyright laws are concerned, if something you have that's actually eligible for copyright protection, it attached the moment you created it, right?
Yeah.
So am I ever worried about putting my work out into the universe for someone else to see it? Well, that comes into me kind of vetting the people who, you know, who's going to get my work. You know, it has to kind of have a little quid, you know, what the quid pro quo.
Yeah.
So like, are we sharing work? Are we both exchanging ideas or whatever the case may be? But also, if you're like, for example, going to go out for an agent and you're going to be going into the querying process, you don't go copyright your stuff. Like you don't, it's already copyright. But I understand why people do it. It's that fear of my work is going to be stolen. I mean, it happens.
It happens.
I mean, it happens to
It's
published
not an
authors.
unwarranted fear. It does
Yeah.
happen. And it happens often, like way more often than is discussed.
Yes. I mean, you can probably go out there on YouTube or on Audible and people's whole books, published authors too, just taken. Just
Yeah, no, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. And then people will say, "Oh, I was influenced by the."
That's the language they like to use. I was inspired by.
Were you?
Yeah, I bet you was. Had you word for word, verbatim.
Word for word.
Real literally reading what I wrote in your stuff, like, no. So I mean, there's that hesitancy, I think, especially for new authors, and I think that speaks to DJ's point about why she didn't give the work out initially. Like there's and I'm sensitive too. Like for me, when someone critiques, like I had to get new critique partners too, because everybody can't read your stuff. And I had to learn, you know, I prefer Black people to read my stuff. I've had some white women read my stuff. And, you know, it takes me back sometimes. I feel like, are you white gays in my stuff? Like, you know, and I don't sometimes feel like I need to sit down and teach you culture either right now. I don't have time for that. And I ain't saying that I write the most blackety black stuff. However, I don't have time to teach you culture right now.
Yeah.
But I also had to learn not to be so sensitive too. With that, I had to kind of just be mindful, but I also had to know, like, for me, I will incorporate people's comments. I'll overthink it, and so then the work no longer becomes my own. And that happened with the manuscript that I'm actually still working on, where I took everybody's comments and tried to fix it, and my agent was just like, "Okay, you're gonna be mad, but the last version was better."
That's my concern.
Yeah,
that's my concern. Like I just lost a lot of stuff that I wrote. So I'm working on an anthology, and I lost a lot of the stuff that I wrote because of my own dereliction of duty, and I lost a lot of it. I'm not over mad about it because I had already decided I was going to rewrite 3 of the stories, because when I reread it like a month later, I wasn't as in love with it as when I wrote it. I was like, this shit kind of arid. Ugh. So I was gonna rewrite them anyway, but because I am not as sensitive as maybe the two of you are, when I do get feedback, I don't feel like I can't incorporate it. I feel like, let me see where I can sort this shit in. And then I feel like, well, I've incorporated so much of everybody else's thought. Is this even an original work of mine anymore? Like, I'm hyper conscious of that. Even with my podcast, like I always open it up. I want people to give me topics that they want to hear, so that I'm talking about what the people that listen to the show want to hear.
Yeah.
Conversely, though, don't tell me how to try to talk about it. Like, tell me what you want to hear, and then let me do my thing. You can't, like, you're not gonna be like write the table of contents to my podcast. Like, that's not how this is gonna work.
Well, you know, that's really kind of the issue with publishing though right now. So although like I indie published my first one, I've made the decision to go traditional. Part of the problem with publishing is that, like the Oscars, is so white. And it took the death of George Floyd recently to kind of get some things moving. However, there's still a lot of performative editors and agents out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so as Black people or people of color are out here wanting to go that route, because let me be honest, traditional publishing, only reason why I didn't go at it the first go around was out of fear of waiting for someone to validate my writing, to tell
Well,
me
that's
that
what I was
I'm
going to
correct.
ask. So, girl, you're already on it. Get to
Well,
it.
well, that was the fear, right? Like the fear was, can I really write I know I can write, but if I wait for someone in publishing to tell me, because you can read plenty of query stories of people who queried hundreds of times, and some of our favorite authors got hundreds, almost thousands of rejections from agents or from editors, and you're just like, like I knew, like for me, for example, the bar was one and done. If I couldn't pass this bar the first time, I was gonna take that sign from Jesus that wasn't meant to be for me, and I need to go
Not
somewhere
me.
else. Like,
Not me. I had to truck through that bitch several times, but I already knew what was for me was for me. It was coming either today or
right.
tomorrow. Delayed, not denied.
Died, honey. I was not there. And so that was my mindset though with the writing. I was like, how can I really, I didn't get as far into the query process, my process into how I got my agent, and even with all the stuff that's happening for me on the publishing side, it's rare. It is a unicorn of unicorns. But I also believe it's one of them things, like you just said, delayed, not denied. And so I feel like it's God saying, no, this is what you're supposed to be doing from the beginning anyway. And it feels very purposeful. I feel very intent about it. Like the no's that I've gotten, I didn't give up. It's like the one thing I haven't given up on. I've spent with 3 kids, my kids are 5 and under. I'm up either late at night or I'm getting up early in the morning. I'm doing something of some writing, and so it was scary. It was scary to wait for somebody to give me the validation to tell me, okay, you're good enough. Because it's subjective, like any industry, subjective, so but being mindful of that fact that publishing is so white, and they have a long way to go. Like some of the stuff that they like,
It's
and you
white as hell,
yeah.
and I'm Black as hell. So
And sometimes they'll tell you like, oh, we need this, but see, no, what you want is trauma stories. And I don't write trauma stories. I'm not giving you a slave narrative. I'm not giving you, a social justice piece. Like we have authors who do that and do it
with excellence. And they do it with excellence.
I write Black joy.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Black love, Black joy. My Black people gonna be regular. They're gonna be washing their hands, wiping ass, like just like any other human. Do you hear me? Like that's how regular I want them to be.
There's a dope. I don't want to say it's a colloquium. It's kind of like it is a colloquium, but there's also like a contest attached to it. Anyway, of these Black women who recently got like this. Kind of like a grant from a publishing house to write Black magic nonfiction. Now y'all know I'm huge on Harry Potter, so I follow them. I'm locked and loaded. I don't miss nothing. I wish I had a brain for that kind of writing because I love to read it. But I'm like, wow, that one, it's so exciting because it's so brand new that there's going to be this collective of Black women intentionally coming together just to write like those kind of stories, because we don't have those kind of narratives. There's that one Black kid, what's Buddy from How to Get Away with Murder, the dead kid, the one that died.
Wait,
what's the Black dude's name? Wes. Well, he's the one Black kid in Harry Potter, the lone Black. And you know why you don't know? Because he got one speaking role in 8 movies, maybe 2. So we don't really have those kind of stories. So it's really dope to see like us expanding into the different genres. But before I veer off into genres, because I'll be there forever, DJ, self-published or big publishing house? Why not?
So I self-published, and part of the reason was because I did some research about publishing traditionally. And for children's books, in my research, what I found is that for children's books, publishers want you to come without your book illustrated. So they want to pair you with an illustrator. And I very much wanted to illustrate my book myself. And I had a vision for how I wanted the illustrations to look. So that is what swayed me to to go towards self-publishing. I was also trying to do it in a certain short amount of time, and just didn't have the energy, or with working and doing all the other things that I'm doing, I'm just like, I didn't have the bandwidth to pursue traditional publishing.
That's fair enough. Do you think you'll ever pursue traditional publishing?
I don't know, because for me, the self-publishing it worked well. I'm okay with it. Like, my book can be found on Barnes and Nobles. Like, it can.
That's right. Plug the books, ladies. Plug the books.
It can
People
be,
get out
found
there and
online.
buy the content.
It's on Amazon. It's available on Amazon. So I don't. I'm not anti self-publishing. So
That is fair enough.
Yeah.
What about agents? How do we feel about agents? Are we pro or anti literary agents? What I know of it, which is very little, let's be clear, extremely little, is that they are hard as hell to come by. And if you do get one, like, unless you're exceptional, they kind of don't really do a lot for you.
Well, they help you with your publishing contract. So you can also, you can get a lawyer for that, right?
I'm about to say, girl, we whole ass attorneys. I'm not going to, I'm
However,
going to be honest.
but we know publishing contracts, because you got to learn the industry.
No, but we have a network of other attorneys that probably do. Why am I going to seek out an agent?
You could, but that's where they come in at. They come in and get the sale. They have the relationships with the editors. So
relationships, that's
right.
Their bread and butter.
That's their bread and butter.
Don't need them to read no goddamn contract.
Well, you may not, but you probably I may be a lawyer, but I take my lawyer hat off and let my agent do her job. But thankfully she's a lawyer too, but I'm gonna let you do your job.
Like I said, lawyer. You got a lawyer network. I knew you did.
You know I did, right?
You're not slick. You're not slick, T.
It's the relationships with the editors. So when you go out onto submissions, right? I don't know all these editors over here at Penguin or HarperCollins and all the different imprints and the breakdown of all that's in there. Also, by the way, before I go any further, they actually editors and agents are actually looking for illustrators now. It's weird how publishing changes. They want illustrators and they want to see your dummy portfolio. So just in case you do decide,
listen, DJ, hop on that extra.
You could do a hybrid. Matter of fact, because I have seen some call outs on editors looking for illustrators. So if you're interested, just in some extra coins.
Secure all the bags.
all the bags. So agents, yes and no, they're hard to come by because, again, it's subjective, right? So people are out here querying, they didn't got hundreds of rejections, whatever the case would be, until they get the one yes, right? Mm-hmm. So you get your yes. The next thing is you want to make sure you connect, because this is supposed to be, again, a relationship. I'm supposed to be entrusting you to get my work sold. And if you're going to be getting 15% of my, my gross, I need to make sure that you're going to be doing the work, because they work for you, right? So correct. The agent needs to be working for you. They need to, now you have to see what type of agent, because there's different types of agents. You have editorial agents, you have agents who don't read your stuff and just send it out. Not good if they do that.
I was about to say, how the hell is that
agents, especially bigger name agents, probably not reading your stuff, probably sending it out. So you might want to make sure that you do have people read your stuff and you kind of tighten it up before it goes to the editor. So your agent is going to send out your manuscript to a list. You should see the list of people who they're going to send it to. So it's going to be editors at different publishing houses, small, medium, big, however it works out. The editors, depending on the type of situation, and by situation I mean how their imprint or they're set up at their publishing house, will go to an acquisitions board meeting, and that's where you have to kind of, again, somebody has to sell you now to the people writing the checks, and there's questions, and I don't know what all goes into it, but it's a meeting that's happening behind the closed doors. If they like it, you get an offer. If they don't like it, you get a pass. So it's like that constant passing, we love it, we don't love it. I've been on the submission process, obviously. So it's not as daunting as it was as looking for an agent. And I just kind of got really blessed in my situation with my agent is that we have a mutual friend. So I kind of went through a back door
Mm-hmm.
to connect with her, and we just really clicked. So, and it's been since June, July or so, since this summer, and it's been going fairly well so far. I don't have any like issues or complaints
That's
with her.
great.
We get along very well. So I just love her to pieces. So it's like it's been great. So
That's great.
you know, but would I still have I could still always go self-publish too if I wanted to, right? So if there's something that doesn't sell, if it's something no one's interested in, I now have kind of a renewed vigor where I'm like, well, screw it,
I
I
don't
just
need
do it
you.
myself. Yeah. And there's authors who do that, who Kwame Alexander, perfect example, who self-published, and he is freaking Newbery honor. Like he's
That's big.
amazing.
Yeah.
He's a big freaking deal.
Yeah.
And this guy, when people was rejecting him or not buying this, he did it himself. So sometimes you just do both. You can do a hybrid. So
That
it's
means don't be signing no exclusive rights contracts, ladies and gentlemen.
absolutely
That's
not.
what that and that was free. We charging for the
That
rest of
was free. But I can also review your publishing contracts too. And I'm cheaper than an agent. So
Get the work, sis. Secure all the bags.
I'm also
Secure
cheaper.
all the bags. What about
So
you, DJ? Are you thinking about pursuing a literary agent?
I am not.
DJ said, hell no.
No, I'm not.
Why not?
I just, I don't,
I
I
mean,
don't,
it's not a challenge. I'm just interested in
I,
why.
the, it just doesn't seem like, uh, that beneficial to me, in my opinion, for me and what I'm doing.
Okay, that
Yeah.
listen, that's
sure.
fair. That's fair. So DJ writes children books.
Hmm.
T writes romantic novels
And children's books.
and children's books now. What
Mhm.
other genres would you ladies like to write? Like
Mm.
if you were given free reign, like if I had the ability, I would pen the black Harry Potter. Like I would literally say fuck everything for
But
2 years.
why don't you? Because
No,
what's
my brain doesn't. My brain literally does not work in that way. I have sat down and tried to process magical shit in my brain.
so I'm gonna tell
My
you
brain
the best
don't
way.
process
You read
magical
books,
shit.
right?
Huh?
You read all the Harry Potter books, right?
Hell no, them shits is this. Why I'm telling you, I gotta watch the movie.
So
My brain do not process that shit. Have you
in
seen
order
those
to
books?
be a
Those books look like the Will to Stay to Trust books. Okay,
oh
that
no.
whole shit look like Per Sturpies. I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm gonna be
Mhm.
honest. I watched the movies, love it. Got a costume. That's.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. In order to be a good writer, you gotta read.
I do read.
But you gotta read the books you want to write.
Well, that's why I said I've accepted my limitation. I do read the books that I want to write. I'm okay with my limitations. The problem is when people don't accept their limitations and try to do some shit they're not willing to do the work for. I have already accepted. I'm not gonna read those books, so I'm not gonna be able to write those books. That's all right with me. The books I do read are the kind of stories that I like to write.
Yeah. So
That's
which ones would you write?
I write like strong female lead books. Like so my favorite book is Lady Boss by Jackie Collins. It is the Lucky Santangelo books are my most favorite books on planet Earth to read. I am drawn to strong female characters. Obviously being a black woman, my strong female characters are black. They're black and they tell our stories and they tell our stories kind of in a way that I feel isn't told. I feel like we're often one or the other. We either grew up and had this hard life and pulled ourselves up by the bootstrap,
Yeah.
or we were affluent and our life was affluent and oh my God, the crestless sandwich and all that type of shit. When in reality, there's a lot of us, much like myself, who grew up very hybrid. Like I grew up in the Bronx when my father was a professional athlete. I had stamps on my passport before I had a bus pass. So there are other stories about strong black female leads that aren't being told, and that's what I'm drawn to writing. Those are the stories that I visualize in my head. Like I see those stories in my head and then I write them. So that's what I'm drawn to. I read those kind of stories. That's for me, and I can enjoy Harry Potter, from the mezzanine. I'm all right with that. But outside of the genres you ladies already write, what genres would you like to write in?
Ugh. So I do romance, and I do kidlit, I do picture books, and I'm actually dabbling with the YA right now, actually, to start writing. However, I am a huge fan of David Baldacci, who writes I might be saying his name wrong, but he writes like political
I thought
thrillers.
it was Meducci, but girl,
Okay, so you know who I'm talking about.
I know, because I like those
So
books too.
obsessed,
I
obsessed
like those
with
books.
with
Those
the
are good.
Will Roby. Then he came out with Amos Decker. I'm like, this my boy. Then he just dropped on Tuesday that Atlee Pine,
Yeah.
the third in the installment, of which I just finished listening to. I couldn't even listen to Barack's book because at first of all, I was like, it's 29 hours. I don't
29 hours?
29 hours and 10 minutes is Barack's.
I'm gonna read it. As much as
I
I
listen
love
to it.
as much as I love Uncle Barry's voice, I prefer to read
His
it.
voice is like, yeah.
This is clutching the pearls.
I love to hear him speak, but it'd be like,
Yeah, I can't do
but
it.
yeah, so I would love to try my hand at like one of those type of books. Because I'm here for it. I actually today went to Costco's with the
P.S.
intent.
My favorite place on earth, people, the Costco.
Love the Costco. My baby girl calls it tacos.
Aw.
I love that.
So she's like, we go. My mom took her to Costco, so off topic. Took her to Costco's, and she came back home. She said, "We went to tacos," and I was like, "Tacos? You got tacos? No, we went to tacos. We went to the store." Like, so at 3, she's obsessed with Costco.
She's on the right. She's on the right path. I'm
She's
gonna be
going
honest.
to be an amazing human. But they had the first 10 books of Nancy Drew.
Remember
When I
those?
tell you, I have read all of the Nancy Drew mysteries. Like, I love her. I promise you, I will write the Black version of the Nancy Drew
You
mysteries.
better go ahead. I know that's right.
And that's why I bought them, so that I can read them and relive my childhood real quick and figure out how Taquisha gonna be up here solving these mysteries. Like,
Hey, Tata. I was a Sweet Valley High girl, through and through.
Yo, I don't think I read any of
Through
those
and through.
books.
If they dropped the book, baby, I was there like you be online for Jordans. I was what? Couldn't get it quick enough. I needed to know what was going on with them damn twins. I needed everything.
I did. I just came to Costco for paper towels and walked out with an air fryer and these books.
Girl, I left just the other day with a new robe. I've been raving about it on Twitter all day today. It feels like love. It really does.
I love that.
What about you, DJ? What genres would you write?
I would definitely continue with the children's books. I think I would want to venture out into the young adult also.
Yes.
And honestly, like, I feel I want to write a self-help book. Yeah,
I dig it.
Yes.
I dig it.
a self-help book.
I dig that. I feel like your compassionate side would really do well with a self-help book, because I'd write some shit like get the fuck over it. Enough is enough.
I mean, that's self-help too. Listen.
I mean, my version of self-help is tough love, but DJ's a much more compassionate person, so I think that's actually, I feel like that's aligned. I would buy it. That's aligned in my eyes. But since we got on childhood books that we loved, what was your childhood series that you loved, DJ?
Believe it or not, I love Dr. Seuss books growing up.
Yeah, that's a popular fucking brand. That's believable.
And yeah, there's something about rhyming children's books that I'm really drawn to. Like, my book is a rhyming book as well. So I don't know what it is about the rhyme, but I love it.
The rhyme, the
rhythm.
rhythm.
What books I loved besides Sweet Valley High? Because I'm telling y'all, even when they got a show, I was watching that shit. I was addicted. But the pick your ending books.
Oh, Choose Your Own Adventure. Yes.
That's okay. So I work for the government now. That's every day feels like a pick.
It does.
Every day there's a new email on payroll and this and that. And every day I'm like, page 38. Page 42, go to the treehouse. Because every day at this job feels like a choose your own
Oh
adventure.
man.
I love those books.
I forgot about those. Yes, I love those too. Those were really good.
Those are bomb. Did you like
And you
those,
could
Georgia?
read them over and over again and have different stories each
It
time.
was like, I felt like somebody's black mama came up with that because, we're going to stretch the dollar. You're going to
Mhm.
get this one book
Yes.
and you're going to have 5 adventures. not, I'm not buying 5 goddamn books.
You gonna be okay with it?
Black mama.
That sounds like mama. You want me to buy how many? Mm-mm. Pretend. Use your imagination.
Listen, that's a real thing. So, what projects do we have coming up, ladies? T, I know you got some projects coming up, so go ahead. What you got coming up that you can talk
Um,
about? Don't
yeah, the
violate.
ones I can talk about publicly. So I am actually in the process of completing the first draft of my adult romance. It's not the sequel for those of you who have read After the Storm. Please don't ask about book 2 of that book. Uh, it's not what I wrote. I absolutely adore this one though. Like the character in this book, she is freaking she's phenomenal. Y'all gonna love her. So the first draft, which I think you probably seen on Instagram, I talk about and kind of share my Scrivener, like showing people where I'm at with it. Um, it's hot trash right now, pure fire, garbage. But it is what it is. Draft 1. It's what it's supposed to be.
It's a draft.
This draft. The next, I got some picture books that I've written that I actually probably need to sit back down and like look at them and revise. But my major project is the one that just released the announcement for, and that's the one on the contemporary women film directors. So
That's
that's
exciting.
the one I'm actually under contract for, the one that actually has to be turned in by a certain date. So I'm really excited about it. It's for young adults and it's nonfiction. So it's kind of out of my lane a little bit. So it kind of is going to be a good challenge for me, but I'm co-authoring it. So I'm not by myself. So, but I'm really excited about that project. So
That's what's up.
yeah.
DJ, what new things you're bringing us?
So if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't have anything in the works right now.
That's fine.
Yeah, 2020 was a
Shit,
doozy
2020
for
been
me.
live.
And it's funny because for the first part of quarantine, I was really guilting myself about not doing things. I'm like, oh, I have all this time. I'm just at home. I have all this time. I should be productive. I'm not being productive. And I finally just allowed myself to say, you know what? I don't have to do anything.
Good for you.
So that's
Nah,
where I'm at.
that's
Good.
real.
That's
Nah,
where I'm at.
that's I definitely went through that portion of quarantine where I was like, you haven't written shit, you barely want to record, you're not working out, I'm not running, and anyone who follows me, that running is life for me. And I just was like, girl,
Yeah.
you are just sitting here squandering this free time. But nah, sometimes the downtime is exactly what the hell you need, and it's
Mhm.
okay to embrace that. Like
Yeah.
that shit is completely okay. I
Yeah.
have nothing to release and everything to retype. You know what else? I have started so I've always wanted to be like a TV writer, like
Mm.
obsessed with it. But I actually do read scripts and listen to podcasts about stuff like that. Like I actually do the work because I really do want to do that. Bruh. I listened to a podcast very recently. I forget the man's name, but he's a big dude. He's got shows on HBO, Showtime. Of course, he's a white man, so you kind of got to take his story with a grain of salt because the kind of shit he gets away with, we're not gonna get away with. But
Right.
so he opens up his story, and the first thing he says is, "Don't waste your money on school."
Facts.
And I was like, "Yo, the fucking privilege attached to being white," because black screenwriters and black authors don't have the luxury of showing up at HBO without credentials.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't have the luxury to just pull up like,
Right.
yo, so I'm really fucking talented and I can prove it. Like we need a body of work, a fucking receipt from some college that says that we're good enough to even get in the room. And I was just like, fuck, I ain't gonna learn nothing from these motherfuckers because it's all from this entitled space. Like all of their experience is this experience that I'm not gonna have. So if anyone has any suggestions, like if Lena is dropping a podcast or some shit, if Ava is dropping a podcast on how to actually get into the work,
Right.
let me know. Drop a comment, send an email, slide in the DMs, anything, because I'm interested, but I need to know how this works
Yeah.
from that
For
melanated, you
yeah.
know,
Well,
badge.
courses. I mean, because I don't plan to go back and get an MFA
No,
for
I'm not going to get another degree.
not
I got
going
about
to
4 of
get.
these motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's just this just not happening. But I have taken some courses. I did take a course for my picture book writing, because picture book writing is a different beast. It's not as simple, especially you have a lawyer to try to come, we're wordy by nature.
Yeah,
So come in there and we use big words just regularly. So having to kind of not say them as big, like you're still gonna learn some vocabulary, but
yeah.
you may not need to know, like, Perseides. You may not need to know any of that stuff. It's probably not relevant. Proximate cause. It's probably not. Probably
But
shouldn't.
maybe it is.
But maybe you might need to lose res. Was it res ipsa liquitor? I could
Res
never
ipsa
say
locator.
that. I used to be like
Res
liquitor in
ipsa
class.
locator.
Look, I know professor used to be like, please stop
You know
talking.
what? Res ipsa is like my favorite shit. I think I use it all the fucking time still.
I still don't understand how it works. Um,
The thing speaks for itself.
oh, well, there it is. There.
Done with
That is the irony, and that's why I do trademarks and copyrights. I don't have time for anything else. You want me? No, but I took a course, and but I just think, just as Black people, just we have to really push past the imposter syndrome. We have to push past feeling that we have to be. It's in our genes. I hate to say it, is a product of slavery at the end of the day, and that's just how we operate. Like we have to show you that we can write, and that's kind of how I feel. Like even if I was still indie publishing, I still got to prove that I've still wrote a good book.
Yeah,
I still got to prove to you that I did this well, and I deserve to be at this table. But I'm at the point now, just as I'm kind of, dealing with my own stuff, and, therapy is my friend. I believe Jesus plus therapy go well together.
amen.
The two work. But just kind of coming to that table where I'm just like, no, I do deserve to be here. No, I do belong to be here. I am a dope writer. You're going to hear about this name, and you're going to learn about me. You're going to know. And I look forward to my name being mentioned among some of the great children book writers, or the great, authors, to be compared to a Terry McMillan or to, Elin Harris. Like, I look forward to that day.
Yeah.
I do. And I want to be there. I want to be my own person. I got that from Shonda Rhimes when she was like, she wanted to be like the next Toni Morrison. I am obsessed with Shonda.
We love us.
So, but when she was just like how she broke out of going down the path of being an author and got into TV, and she did a little bit of film, but just being herself and just kind of standing in that lane. And that's what I'm working on, making sure that I'm doing, that the writing that I do, this is my lane, and don't try to box me into whatever narrative that you're trying to fit me in. Like, I do this and I do it well.
That's right. That's why I wanted to have y'all on and kind of do this topic. Like I said, in doing my own research and listening to other writers talk about their experience, it is very often not our experience. And while I can always learn something from everybody, let's keep it a buck. We live in this America, and I know that this white man's experience of, oh, I just showed up type of shit is not not how it works for most of us. And I know I'm not the only person. I've had a few people on here who are actually in the process of writing, cookbooks and self-help books like DJ talked about, and they don't have any mentorship, and they haven't published a book before, so they really don't know what the process looks like or it sounds like. So I was just like, I know some people. Let me just put together what I've been seeking.
Yeah.
If it ain't there, build it, right?
That's right. I mean, that's what we need to do as a community, right? Come
Yeah.
together and build, and you know, you got two people who can speak from both sides of the house. Um, I never knock indie publishing because hell, I still probably would indie publish, given the opportunity. But I wanted to try my hand at traditional before I just was like,
Fuck 'em.
whatever, screw it. Yeah, like I just yes, that was actually the word I wanted to say.
This is a safe space for cussing. You're fine.
All my cussing is in my manuscripts, not my children's book. We have a special pen name for the adult stuff so that the teachers and the parents don't be like, what in the hell?
Hey, it's for asshole.
There is a book that is called, what is it? Go to fuck to sleep or something like that.
Oh, I think I've heard of that.
You
Yeah.
think,
Never heard of
yeah,
that.
and I think Samuel reads it as well.
Oh, I would totally add that to my Kindle.
Yes,
Totally.
I'm going to find it because it's literally a real.
Please let me know
I
because
really wish I could read it to my children, but I cannot because
I
they
feel
are
like my
parents.
mother authored that book.
I think it's called "Go the Fuck to Sleep." Like,
Yeah. I think so
I
too.
feel like that's a Shazo classic. So before I let you ladies go, one book that you will never read again.
oh, that's mean.
Next
I didn't say it was bad. You just won't read it again.
Mm,
Mm.
okay. I would say the Game of Thrones.
You read it? You see what I'm saying? I can't say.
I read all of them. I read all of
Didn't
them.
know they were books.
You
Oh my
know what? See, you worse than me.
yeah, I won't read them again because
Shit is
the
dense.
they're good though. They're really good, and they had to cut a lot out
I heard that.
into the series.
I heard that. The way they ended that show, fuck them, man. That was some
Yeah,
bullshit.
it was
That was harsh.
that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole fucking podcast. I may have a
I just
round
want to be
table.
present for that one. I
I
don't
won't
even
be
have
present
anything
for that
to
one. I have
contribute.
some thoughts.
Yeah.
A
Listen,
lot of thoughts.
because I'm pissed. We waited years for some bullshit.
We did.
Fucking
But
bullshit.
yeah, so I wouldn't read those books again.
That's fair. T, one book you would never read again, or a series of books you wouldn't read again.
God, that's really tough for me. Only because I haven't read so long. But there is one book. I think it was by Eric Drum Dickey. Now I read a lot of his books, but I could not get into I'm drawing a blank. The series that he did with the guy. It was like what's his name? He was
Don't
like
get
a
me started.
murderer or something, and not he was like an assassin or something. It was just weird. Everything about it was weird. Gilead or whatever his name, Gillian. There was a Gillian series, and I tried to read it, and I was like, "No, sir, give me my erotica.
Give me-
Give me my erotica."
I would
And
never read The Color Purple again. It
mm,
was a very hard read. It
what
was
is it
not hard as in difficult, but hard as in
like?
I felt that shit. And probably because I was very young when I read it, probably too damn young. But
Mm,
I mean that's on brand for my old soul. Um, I like every time I think about the book or even envision the book, I
mm,
have a visceral reaction to it. Like I feel all the feelings all over again.
yeah,
And once was enough. It was emotionally draining.
It's
I could never sit down and read that whole book again.
you good.
Yeah,
Now I can watch the movie several times over though. Movie,
listen.
when
Will
they
you do right by me?
with the fingers.
I will watch Whoopi and Oprah until the cows come home, but I can't read
go
that.
Hopper to beat me, I get it. Yeah.
Mad random on topic before I let y'all go. Oprah's a that motherfucking Oprah can act. Okay, Oprah
She
don't get enough
really
credit
can.
for that acting. She really, I mean,
No.
they gotta give Oprah the things. She needs to get the
Did
things.
y'all know she was the voice in the Princess and the Frog movie show? I did not know she was
I
Mama
did know
Odie. I'm
that.
like, she did a whole voice change for Mama Odie?
I do not. I was never a big fan of Oprah the host, but Oprah the actress, baby,
She
sis
was amazing.
delivers. The
Yeah.
women's a Brewster place. Listen, Oprah been giving us the quality content for a long time, and they need to give sis the things. That's all I'm saying. She
She said
deserves.
she don't need that thing. She's a billionaire.
That's all right. Give it to her anyway. I want all my shit and the money. Don't limit me. Ladies, thank you so much for coming on, taking some time to talk with the good people out in Cyberland and YouTube land and sharing your insight and definitely dropping some gems. I definitely learned a lot. I hope whoever's listening learned a lot. I will include all your information in the comment box so the good people can buy the merch. Buy the merch. Support Black artists. Buy all the merch. Also, make sure you get your Black Girl SOS t-shirts, www.brandsnobby.com. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be Spotify, Google, Apple. Make sure that you follow us on Instagram. And until next time, y'all have a good one. Peace.
Bye.